Come on in, grab a seat, and welcome to my virtual consultation room. Think of today's explainer as a journey, kind of a deep dive into the invisible underground mechanisms of your own mind. I'll be your resident psychologist today, and we're going to examine this fascinating thing that happens every single time you meet someone new. It's a completely invisible process, it's totally subconscious, yet it literally dictates so much of your professional and personal life. We are unpacking the hidden psychology of first impressions, and we use the latest behavioral insights to figure out exactly what people are deciding about you in a matter of seconds.
Right off the bat, I want you to be completely honest for a second. Ask yourself, have you already judged me? Before I even finished my first sentence, before we really got into the meat of this topic, notice how your brain had already formed a feeling about my trustworthiness. You probably already decided whether I sounded confident or unsure, interesting or totally forgettable. And hey, you didn't do this maliciously. Your brain just did it entirely on autopilot.
And the craziest part? It only took a few seconds, literally just a couple of seconds. Now, that sounds incredibly unfair, doesn't it? But as a psychologist, I can tell you that this rapid judgment isn't some cruel social critique. Actually, your brain is this ancient survival machine, and it uses these lightning-fast decisions because, well, it simply has no other choice. It's a vital biological shortcut. Your brain, and everyone else's, is constantly making these quick decisions about people because it's fundamentally wired to keep you alive.
Let's move to Section 1, the invisible mechanisms, the brain beneath the surface.
We need to look at exactly why your brain refuses to process all this information slowly and logically. The reality is, there is just way too much data in the world to analyze everything carefully. If you had to logically assess every single person's background, their intent, their moral character before interacting with them, your brain would just short circuit. So what does it do instead? It relies on tiny signals. It rapidly scans for micro details and uses patterns it's learned over a lifetime to answer one incredibly primal question. Is this person safe and are they competent? That single subconscious question forms the absolute bedrock of a first impression. In cognitive psychology, we actually have a specific term for this. We call it thin slicing. This is your brain's remarkable, almost superhuman ability to make quick, sweeping judgments based on very, very small slices of information. We're talking a short interaction, a few seconds, maybe even a single glance across a room. And while these rapid-fire judgments aren't always 100% accurate, they are incredibly powerful because they lock in before logic even enters the chat.
Section 2, the confirmation bias. Let's talk about the diagnostic filter.
As a psychologist, this right here is the cognitive loop I probably spend the most time explaining to my patients. Let's look at how this thin slicing essentially traps the observer. First, that fast decision is made. Second, that quick impression literally becomes a lens or a filter. Third, and this is the kicker, the brain actively starts looking for evidence to prove itself right. If someone subconsciously decides you're confident in those first 3 seconds, they will interpret all your subsequent actions through a lens of confidence. If they see you as unsure, they do the exact same thing, but in reverse. This is confirmation bias in action. You aren't just making a first impression, you are handing the other person the literal glasses through which they will view everything else you do.
All right, Section 3, posture and eye contact, the physical symptoms. So if the brain acts this incredibly fast, what exactly is it looking at? Well, the core truth of human communication is that words are only a fraction of the message. In fact, confidence is rarely heard first. It is almost always seen first. You could have 2 people say the exact same sentence, word for word, but they'll be perceived completely differently. Why? Because your posture speaks, your tone speaks, your pace speaks. Even the way you stand perfectly still speaks volumes. Let's break down the actual clinical symptoms of this. Say someone walks into a room. The classic signals of uncertainty are obvious. Maybe their shoulders are hunched up by their ears, their eyes are darting toward the door like they want to escape, or they're nervously shifting their weight and over-explaining every little thing. Even if the words they're saying are brilliant, the observer's brain instantly picks up on those physical cues and diagnoses them as unsure. Now flip that. The physical symptoms of security, planted feet, breathing steadily, controlled movements, making comfortable eye contact without staring them down but not flinching away either, and crucially, there is absolutely no rush to fill the silence. When you see that, you are visually diagnosing confidence.
Section 4, the power of consistency. Let's talk about aligning the signals.
The absolute cure to being misjudged relies on this psychological concept called alignment. There are 3 pillars here: your words, your tone, and your body language. Now, why does this matter so much? Because when these 3 elements match exactly, when your verbal consistency is perfectly synced up with your physicality, people feel it.
Think about it. If someone says, "I am so happy to meet you," with a warm, steady tone, while giving you comfortable eye contact and an open posture, all their signals are aligned. When these match, it drastically reduces the other person's cognitive load. Their brain doesn't have to work overtime to calculate hidden motives or decode mixed messages. That frictionless consistency is the absolute fastest way to build perceived trust with another human being.
And this table perfectly illustrates what happens when we mess that up. Look at this. When the signals match, boom, the result is trust and consistency. But when those signals conflict, let's say you boldly state, "I am absolutely the best person to lead this project," but your voice is shaking and you're staring at your shoes, the observer's brain instantly detects tension. People will feel like something is just off about you, even if they can't logically explain why to themselves. Their subconscious is throwing up massive red flags because the data simply isn't matching up.
Section 5. The art of doing less. This is the prescription. We have finally reached the prescription part of our session, and I want you to notice how I'm deliberately slowing down my pacing right now. I am physically embodying the calmness I am about to prescribe to you. The very first instruction on your prescription pad: do not perform. So many people think that making a killer first impression means putting on a show, turning into this hyper-charismatic superhero version of themselves. But trying too hard almost always backfires. Why? Because forced behavior creates tension. And as we just learned, the human brain is highly attuned to detecting tension. It sees right through the performance.
The clinical goal here isn't to become someone else entirely. We're not doing a personality transplant. The goal is simply to remove the specific symptoms that make you seem uncertain. So, think of this as your new daily regimen. First, slow down your speech. Second, hold eye contact just a fraction of a second longer than you normally would. Third, stop rushing to prove your worth to the other person. And fourth, perhaps most powerfully, allow silence. Just let your physical presence do the heavy lifting for you.
Just let that sink in for a moment. Strong first impressions don't come from saying more. They come from needing less. Notice how that pause didn't feel awkward at all? Stillness speaks volumes. You really do not need to rush to fill every single gap in a conversation. When you require less validation from the person sitting in front of you, you project a grounded, focused energy that their brain instantly recognizes as safe, secure, and highly competent.
Which brings us to our final question to close out today's session. What will your next introduction be? Remember, at the end of the day, people are not just listening to the words you say. They are subconsciously feeling exactly how you say them. And in those critical first few seconds, that feeling permanently becomes your introduction. Thank you so much for joining me in the consultation room today. I highly recommend keeping an eye on your own invisible signals before your next real-world interaction. Good luck out there.